All right, so we are going to work with the slope formula. The slope formula is going to be y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Usually when we have a table, we try to find out the difference. So we move from 8 to 14. In this case, the difference between 8 and 14 is going to be 6. Now, when you're moving from 14 to 16, that's going to be a difference of 2. And then if we pay attention to the x, we're going to move from 4 to 7. And that is going to give you 3. And from 3 to 8 is going to give you 1. Now, in this case, you don't see a constant of proportionality. It's not a constant rate that is moving the numbers around. So in order for you to solve this, you would actually have to create another table where you put 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, and then you have to fill in the gaps to see if it's constant. Now, that's too much work to rewrite a table and do it one more time, and that's why we're going to use the slope formula. So to do that, the first thing that I want you to do is we are going to start by writing boxes. And we're going to label them. So the first box is going to be y2. The next box is going to be y1. And the bottom, in the denominator, we're going to have x2 and y2. I'm sorry, and x2. The reason that we're drawing the boxes is that you're going to be filling them in with the numbers that you already have. So the only thing you need to do is select a pair of numbers. So doesn't matter the order. So in this case, I am actually going to come and choose the first pair. So in this case, we have the pair 4 and 8. And then let's say I want to use the next pair, that it's the last pair, that's going to be 8 and 16. So I'm going to put it in pairs 8 and 16. We're going to label it, and we know that this is going to be your x1, and this is going to be your y1, and the next one is going to be x2, and then this one is going to be y2. Now that we have it labeled, the only thing we need to do is plug it into our formula. So we're going to write y2 is 16, y1 is 8, and then we have x2 is 8, and x1 is 4. Now that we have that, the only thing we need to do is solve. So what is 16 minus, so 16 minus 8 is 8, and 8 minus 4, 8 minus 4 gives you 4. 8 divided by 4 is going to give you 2, and that is your slope. You know that m equals 2 for this problem. Now we're going to be looking at the same information. We're going to try to find the slope, but we are going to be dealing with a graph. So the only thing that we're going to do is choose 2 points. In this case, we already have a point right here. So this point is going to be 0, -2. 0, because we know that the vertical line is going to be your y-axis, and the horizontal line is going to be your x-axis. So right here, we know that the x is 0, so x is 0 and y is 2, and that now the next one is going to be your y is going to be 0, and your x is going to be 3. So we're going to write that point down, and the next point is going to be 3, 0. The next thing we're going to do is label it. So we're going to label this x1, y1, and this is going to be x2, y2. Now we're going to make our boxes. So we have m equals, let's start by drawing the boxes. It's going to make it easier. And you're going to see why we draw boxes right now. So we have y2 minus y1 and x2 minus x1. Now the only thing you need to do is plug it in. So we have x2 and y2 is going to be 0. y1 is going to be -2. x2 is going to be 3, and x1 is going to be 0. Okay? Now the only thing you need to do is solve it. So we have 0 minus -2. Whenever you have the two negatives there, you need to do the two strokes, and that's why we put it in boxes to make sure that you're doing this right. So we have 2 divided by 3 minus 0 gives you 3. So that's going to be your slope. Your slope is going to be 2/3. And we're done. When they're giving you a graph, the only thing you need to do to find that intercept is look at the vertical line and look at that point. That point gives you your y-intercept. So in this case, for future reference, we know that B is going to be -2, because at -2 is when the line crosses the y-axis. All right, so in the previous part, we found out that the y-intercept was -2, and we found out that the slope was 2/3. Now, we need the slope and the y-intercept. Once you identify what the slope and the y-intercept are, we're going to be writing it in the slope-intercept form. That means you're going to be writing it in y equals mx plus b. Okay? So the only thing you need to do is substitute it. Just put it in the correct order. Wherever you see the m, you're going to replace it there. So we're going to write it as y equals x plus whatever we have here. So we need to fill in those blanks. So we know that our m is going to be equal to 2.3. So let's write that down. 2/3. And then we know that our b is going to be equal to -2. So the only thing we need to do is replace it there. So we're going to write -2. Now, since we have a plus -2, that doesn't look too pretty. So we're going to rewrite it as y equals 2/3 x plus minus 2. And that will be your answer. That will be the equation of the line.